Hello, everybody. It's me. My camera is just a little not in the right position. Hello, everybody. It is me. I'm debating chores. Key, you're sick. You're supposed to be taking care of yourself. That does not mean chores. That does not mean chores, my friends. That does not mean chores. Who have we got today? Key with first. Key, better be taking care of yourself. We got lots of people. Who's here? We got Taryn. We got Mai. We got Pi. And it rhymes. We got sardonisms. Sleepy, unhappy noises. I woke up every hour from 3 to 5 this morning. Oh no! Has this been a regular thing or just a today thing? Rai-Rai's here. Pi says, did you have nightmares about me? I'm sorry. Pi, who could ever have a nightmare about you? A torrential wave of water, maybe, but not about Pi. Save? Alright, I haven't written anything in this document yet, but I'll save it. There you go. For Pi, we've hit the save button. If you're working on something, hit the save button. Starboard Striker stream equals self-care. Taryn, that means so much to me. You guys, I'm just a crazy little old lady sitting here on my corner of the internet doing weird random things. Wearing a shirt that says, warning, the coffee has worn off and the wine hasn't kicked in yet. Have to put real clothes on and go out in people today. I'm so sorry, but also I hope it goes well. That's the best we can hope for. Usually wake up one time between 3 and 5, not 3. Interesting. I zonked right out last night. I laid down, I got semi-comfortable, and I was gone. I was dead to the world. For some reason, my camera doesn't seem like it's doing quite what I want it to do today. It's not quite in the position I want. It's not quite cutting off my head, though, so I guess we're okay. Just wear a fishing net. I kind of feel like the pharmacy where my works has a dress code that requires more than fishing net. I reached for my glasses and then realized I'm not wearing them. That's the kind of morning it is. It's grocery shopping and going into an outdoor store that I've never been in. I just don't want to, but I gotta. Shopping day. At least it's not pharmacy service day, I guess. Have to leave to get kiddo, and I don't know if I'll be back, but I'll try. Taryn, we'll miss you if we don't see you again, but we appreciate you. Heads up, because I know Taryn is usually a Winds of Chaos lass. No Winds of Chaos tonight, but Ghost is doing a bonus modeling stream on his channel for anyone who would usually hang out with the Winds of Chaos crew. There will still be something happening in that time slot. Might start slightly later. Might start closer to 7:30-ish. But that will be happening in place of Winds of Chaos. Collie is sick. Poor Collie Flumps. Poor sweet Collie Flumps, who has no immune system, is sick again. So they are holding off because they are in the final stretch and they want all of the players to be there. Being able to pass, to just pass right out is such a power move to pull on light sleepers. I don't usually get to do that. I am a light sleeper. I don't usually just zonk out instantly and be dead to the world. Especially when I'm low-key stressed, which I have been for a while. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about the whole Windows Update thing yesterday. But I did. I laid down, I got comfortable, and my whole everything was like, we're done now. And it was great. And I woke up at 10 minutes before my alarm, and I was like, this is cool, I'll just lay here for an extra 10 minutes. Oh yeah, you're on vacation! Enjoy! I know you're going camping, so let us know how that goes when you get back. Scribblins, hello! Welcome in! It's hard for me to fall asleep, but when I do, I sleep like a rock. I actually did not realize... Pi, don't you say ooh, ghost stream. I know you're gonna be one of those people hanging out and being upset if you don't get the first. So don't ill ghost stream me. I actually didn't know for most of my life that I was a light sleeper. I have always had trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. And I do get insomnia sometimes. It is a thing that I have struggled with on and off. But just on a, like, normal day-to-day... Pie, that's okay if you can't catch it. We'll still appreciate you just as much. Yeah, I always had trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. It's always a process for me. If there's a noise that happens, like in the middle of me falling asleep, I have to start the whole process over again. And, you know, my health suffered for that. And then a friend of mine, who's actually one of my very dear beta readers, she was like, I sleep with earplugs. And I was like, I was thinking of like the foam ones that you like insert in your ear, because I'm terrified of those. But she's like, no, I get the wax ones for swimmers. And so these are, I think I've flashed these on stream before. These are the ones, still too. These are the ones I use. They're designed for swimming, as you can see, but they say snore-proof. These block up to 22 decibels, which is pretty good. And they sit outside your ear. So you just kind of smush them into this part of your ear here. You don't actually put it into the ear canal, just they sit right here, and then you just peel them out in the morning. And it was life-changing for me. I didn't realize I was a light sleeper until I started sleeping with earplugs, and suddenly I was sleeping through the night. Because there was no sound that could wake me up or interrupt my sleep. So all of a sudden, I started sleeping through the night. So, that was interesting. Definitely game changer for me, sleeping with earplugs. The main downside is that they don't stay sticky forever. I can use them for about a week and a half, and then they stop being able to stay in my ear properly, so I have to throw them out, and so it's a constant cost. Like, it's become another cost to the household, but it's a small cost, and my quality of life is better, so... The concept of Ghost doing fashion modeling is killing me. Wait, who suggested he would be fashion modeling? Oh, because I said a modeling stream. I got ya. He would never. Leaving tomorrow morning. Have to go to the outdoor store because I need a new camping chair. Nice. Are you going to get one of those ones that, like, folds up into the tube? They tend to be pretty comfortable. I guess it's not a tube. It's like a little cloth sack. They're fold-out chairs. They're really good. My in-laws have them. Need to acquire 2 to 3 gallons of water because there's no water at the site we're going to. Oh, definitely want to bring enough water. Gonna sleep in 2 hours, then in 7 hours I leave for work. Pie, no worries. We appreciate you no matter how much we see you. I have memories of being in elementary school and my mom having to coach and coax me through insomnia and it not working. It's funny because when I was a teenager and I was struggling with insomnia, my mom tried to give me advice, but I learned later that it was all bad advice. And maybe this isn't her fault because, you know, she grew up in a time before the internet when information was readily available. But what she always told me to do was to turn on the TV at a really low volume on like a boring channel or something and just let it play in the background and try to sleep. This is how I discovered the strongest man in the world competitions and the lumberjack competitions, because I would put on like ESPN2 and just kind of lay there and try to sleep but not be able to sleep, so I would end up watching lumberjack competitions. But it turns out that actually the TV is very bad for insomnia. First of all, the light wakes you up instead of putting you to sleep. And the talking, the noise, can distract you. So you shouldn't actually watch TV. Windows hardware disconnect, noise plays in the house somewhere, making it shook. I would be. I don't know why that would happen in the house to wake me up, but it probably would wake... Any noise would wake me up. Any noise would wake me up. The one I have is a little rickety, and I was worried about it on the last camping trip. Fair. I mean, see what they have. Get yourself something nice. Cheers, pie. A 1. A 2. A 3. 3 licks to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop. My mom said when I can't sleep, I try really hard to stay awake, and I was like, I do that at school literally every day. That was one my mom told me to, and counting. But counting never worked for me either. I had a lot of friends, like I had a friend who was like, oh, when I can't sleep, I count the tiles on my ceiling. And I was like, what do you do when you count all the tiles? Like when you run out of them. And she just looked at me like I grew another head, because she never had that problem by the time, you know, she never got to the end before she fell asleep. And I do still, even with the earplugs, I do still get nights where I just kind of lay there and I'm just kind of like, all right, this is happening. And my brain is on fire. I just have all these thoughts and I can't sleep. So I know the insomnia hasn't always just been light sleeping. But those nights are much fewer and farther between now that I'm not constantly jerking awake from sounds. Like, I never really realized how much sound affected me when I was trying to sleep, until the earplugs. So they have been definitely life-changing for me. And I never thought that I would be able to, sorry, I'm reading about sardonisms. I never thought I would be able to sleep with something in my ears. Like, a lot of, like, for a while after the suggestion to try earplugs came up, I was like, I don't think I could sleep with something in my ears. I feel like that would keep me up. And for the first couple nights, it was weird. Like, it took me a while to get used to it. I think, like, 2 weeks was really how long it took to get used to having something sort of glommed in my ear. But since then, like, I sleep so much better. And I take them on vacation with me, and I sleep so much better. I just sleep so much better. There's a new game out, and I got a code for it, and I got to review it, and it's really good, and I want people to play it because it's super cool. You can do both sardonisms. I would definitely put it in the Discord just because there are probably a bunch of people here who aren't going to see it if you post it here. But you can 100% post it here, and you can 100% post it in the Discord just to cover all of it. What game is it? Cooking, simmering, or dishwashing, whichever one of the companion or choice animation for. I just want to be at the counter. Roots devoured. You play as a baby eldritch abomination? What? Do you grow this baby eldritch abomination, or do they stay a baby the whole time? Is the goal to, like, grow up and devour the world? That sounds so cute. Is the goal to grow up and devour the world? You spend your roots by drinking blood and conquering maps. Interesting. Vacation sleep being improved makes sense. I've noticed most of my issue was abnormal background noises. Yeah, I've never traveled well. And honestly, I still don't travel well for various reasons. But it does help to have the earplugs, especially if we end up in a hotel or like when we were on the cruise ship, because you're in a giant place with a bunch of random people, and there's gonna be people doing weird shit at 3 in the morning. Like, and you can't control that. You have a job from Mother, and then there's a ton of unlockables. So there's a lot I didn't even find while I was reviewing it. I bought it for my boyfriend to stream, and he's finding all the stuff I missed because I just went where Big Sis told me to. Interesting! Interesting, I'll have to look at it. I still wander the house at night, sometimes expecting a fight in the dark when I hear a noise that didn't belong. That's me, though. Like, I've always been... It's interesting, too, because... tangent. Oh, yeah, we still have, I think, 2 hydrates we didn't do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do those now. Let's do 2 extra hydrates. A 1. A 2. I've always been really hyper aware of sounds in the house that I'm in. Even my house, and even familiar sounds. And also, we live on a cul-de-sac where our neighbors are constantly just revving their engines for some weird reason. The guy who lives next door to us is really nice, but he has this, like, diesel truck that sounds like it's dying. And especially in the winter, he has a tendency to turn it on at, like, 6:30 in the morning and just let it run for a half an hour. Before he drives away, which I can only imagine how much gas it... I assume it's diesel because of how it sounds. But, like, I can't imagine the gas money that he wastes on idling his engine for, like, half an hour every day. But also, I just tend to be hyper aware of my surroundings to begin with. Like, I've kind of learned in my older years, as I learn more about how brains work, and as we as a society collectively learn more about brains that are not neurotypical and the reasons why, I recently, just a couple years ago, learned about highly sensitive people, or highly sensitive persons, which I do believe... I've not had a formal diagnosis, but I do believe myself to be. And one of the things... that is sort of characteristic of a highly sensitive person is that it basically means that you process information to a higher degree than someone who's neurotypical. So on the scale of how much information you're processing at any given time, highly sensitive people are very highly sensitive to their surroundings, and they process a lot of information quickly. So at any given time, I'm noticing a bunch of different things about my environment, about my surroundings, about what I'm doing, what's happening. This is going to explain a lot to Key, who has been walking me through computer stuff, and me being like every little blip, every little ding. And highly sensitive people tend to be really tuned into their environment and highly sensitive to sounds. And I do get really bothered by loud sounds. If Ghost is in the kitchen and he drops, like, a pot or something, like, really loud happens, it startles the shit out of me. And of course I don't, like, I try not to react to it. It's not, shit happens. This is what happens in the world. But it can rattle me, quite badly. And I also struggle sometimes with restaurants. Because modern restaurants tend to be built just as big industrial warehouses with tables in them, and there's nothing to buffer or break the sound. So it gets really loud sometimes in a full restaurant, and it gets really hard for me to hear the people that are right next to me because I can't drown out the ambient chatter. And so learning about that, learning that that is a thing that my brain does, and that I'm, like, super tuned into all that stuff, has definitely explained the reasons why, I could be on the verge of sleep, hear a small noise, and have to get up and move around the house and try to find what it was. I got that vibe forever ago, plus I think we already talked specifically about this. We may have. Do you ever realize how many convos you're listening to instead of those you're eating with? I mean, being both a highly sensitive person and a writer is a deadly combo because the drive to people watch is high. Um, I try to be like I try to counter it by being really focused on the people that I'm with and I'm doing with them. But I do have that sensation sometimes where I'm like, this is going on with those people, that's going on with those people. Back in the oldie caveman days, light sleepers and hyper aware people were good to have around. Yeah. Oh yeah. I also am a very much a night owl. I don't really wake up before 8 in the morning. If I have to roll out of bed and do something at 6 or 7, I can. I'll be a zombie, but I can do it. But it's almost like a switch flips at like 8:30 in the morning, and I become aware. And that alertness, that sense of awake, stays with me until probably around 2 in the morning. So I definitely think I would have been a night watch person. Would have been one of those people who stayed up when everyone else went to bed to catch all the weird shit that was happening. Because that was the thing that people would have needed back before we lived in walls and, had security systems and solid locked doors. Night shift gang. It's interesting because I've kind of skirted this conversation with Mama Pepper a couple times because she's always like, you have to have a regular routine. You have to be able to do the 9 to 5. And I'm like, some people don't work that way. Some people are not wired for 9 to 5. Some people do not function during those hours. And yes, I get that society has created that as like peak hours. Less so now, I think. Now that we live in the era of 24 hours and everything's always up and everything's always on and everything's always open, I think a little bit less so than, when she was our age. And I get that society has created peak hours and that you have to be able to function at some point within peak hours to be a part of society. I get that. I get that that is a thing. But there are people whose circadian rhythms just do not function. And it's interesting because I keep seeing that they're starting to do studies on people who stay up late. And I'm like, well, are you studying people who stay up late who have normal circadian rhythms? Or are you studying people who are staying up late who have late night circadian rhythms? Because, like, if I wasn't married to Ghost Pepper, I would probably go to bed at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I would get up at, like, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and my morning time would be, like, noon. Noon would be, like, my starting point of my day. And, like, my normal functioning hours would carry me to 3, 4 in the morning. And that's just the life that would be my natural time period. And I have trained myself to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier because my husband is a teacher and I would literally never see him if I used my normal circadian rhythm. But it's like, because they talk in studies a lot. Hey, Celadon! They talk in studies a lot about how if you stay up super late, it can strain your body because it's against your circadian rhythm. And I'm like, what if it's not a strain for you to stay up that late? Because I don't get tired until 2 in the morning. That's when I get tired. Firekeepers, absolutely, 100%. And the BS productivity gurus who tote waking up at 5. Yeah, I mean, if you feel like you can get up at 5 in the morning and be functional and get stuff done, I know people who do that. I know people who are like, I get up an hour before work and I do my me stuff and it feels great. Domerin's one of those people. Domerin gets up at 5 in the morning and takes a run. He's fictional, but he's based on those people that I know who are like that, who get up early. But, those people are also tired by 10:30 at night. And they're in bed by, like, if I go to bed at 10:30, I'm just gonna lay there. Nothing's gonna happen. My body is too active. My brain is too active to sleep at that time. And this is one of the reasons why I mentioned earlier that I don't travel well. this is one of the reasons I don't travel well, is because I have to adjust my sleep schedule for travel. Like, 9 times out of 10 when we're flying, I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to be at the airport for, you know, a 6:30 flight. And it's like, that's hard for me. That I don't work that way. I don't function at that time of morning. And whenever we're flying back from the Peppers, from visiting the Peppers, you know, we get up at 5 in the morning to drive 2.5 hours to the airport. And Mama Pepper's always like, do you want to eat something? I have this food, I have that food. And she's always trying to feed me. And I'm like, it is 5:30 in the morning. Food is the grossest thing I've ever heard of. It's dark. My brain is not working. Please stop offering me this. Let me just sit here and be goo. Because I'm not functioning right now. This is such a normal tech person thing. Listen. See, I struggled I struggled a bit with the last cruise. And I'm hoping this one will be a little bit easier because right at the beginning we have, I think, 2 at sea days, where I can hopefully adjust to the time change, because time changes really hurt me. But it was hard during the last cruise because there were so many things to do. We were go, 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 and I never really adjusted to the time zones. And I think we switched time zones like 2 different times as well. So it's rough. It's really rough. I love getting up at 4 and in bed at 9, but my partner functions best as a night owl. Yeah. If you're married to your opposite, that's when it's challenging. Through many years of effort, I have trained myself to get up at 8:30 in the morning and to be in bed by somewhere between 1 and 2, and I can function on that schedule. But Ghost Pepper goes to bed at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, and I stay up for 2 or 3 more hours, depending on whether it's a weekend. And the number of times when Joe has been like streaming Monster Prom or something, and I've accidentally stayed up till 3 a.m. is more than I want to count. Meanwhile, keeping me up past midnight is both cruel and asking me to make it your problem because I will fall the fuck apart and you'll have to suffer through it. Yeah. Everybody has their own, like, everyone has their own natural rhythm that they fall into. And it's crazy to me that, like, people haven't figured that out yet. Like, we're still having all these discussions about how this is the ideal time period and this is when you should get up and early bird gets the worm and all that shit. And it's like, no, I don't function that way and you can't make me. Like, believe me, I've tried. You can't make my brain function before 8:30 in the morning. It just isn't gonna happen. Keladon, how's it going? Sorry, that was a huge tangent, but that's been a pet peeve of mine, I think, for as long as I've been an adult. Because I've always been a night owl. I've always had a night-leaning schedule. If Ghost Pepper goes out of town for 2 days... my schedule just snaps back, like just naturally snaps back to me staying up late, getting up late, eating at different times. Like I need him around to keep me on this schedule because it's not my natural schedule. It's just not. And during breaks, like this was one of the reasons why it was so hard for me at the beginning of the year. Like during breaks, I take 3 weeks off. My schedule snaps back to my normal schedule, so then I'm like, all right, well, I've been staying up till 2:30 every night, and now I have to get up at 8 in the morning tomorrow, so what do I do now? I thought you just commonly stayed up till 2 a.m. To be fair, humans are real bad at just putting people in a group of pile and calling it done, with very little extra looking into the whys and hows. Very true, and that's something I hate about us humans. We always want to label things, and we're very binary about it, and it doesn't work that way. And 2, I do just commonly stay up till 2 a.m. But honestly, if I didn't have to get up at 8:30 in the morning to do waves at all these things, I would stay up later. And I try to go to bed... On weeknights, I try to be in bed by 1:30. I should really probably try to be in bed by 1, but really only sleep for 6 hours these days, and it seems to be enough. So I try to be in bed by 1:30 so that I can give myself 7 hours if I'm getting up at 8:30. But I would stay up later than that. No, not your fault. Ghost Pepper's fault. I've already made this clear. Ghost Pepper is the reason I have a schedule. The schedule that I do. If it wasn't for Ghost Pepper, this is why when Ghost Pepper goes out of town, Peter says that we get Feral Megan, because I can't keep a schedule without him. I just can't. Like, the only thing that keeps me on the schedule that I have is that it's the only way to interact with my husband. If I kept my normal hours that feel normal to me, we would miss each other. We, like, the small window of when he's home and not working, we would just never be available at the same time during that time frame. So I have to try to keep some semblance of his schedule. And don't get me wrong, my schedule works for me. Like, I do this because it works for me, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But it's funny to me how quickly it falls apart. Ghost only has to be gone for 48 hours before, like, he'll be texting me at 8 o'clock at night and be like, did you eat dinner? And I'll be like, no, I forgot. Literally every time Ghost goes away, there are people who are like, hey, you need me to message you so you remember to eat? And I'm like, yes. Yes, I do. Because I will forget. Like, there have been times when Ghost is out of town on a camping trip, and I'll order dinner at, like, 6 o'clock to be delivered. And, our account, our, like, Skip the Dishes account is actually tied to his phone number. So they'll text him when my food is on the way, and he'll text me and be like, I'm proud of you. You remembered to eat at a decent time. I'm like, I know. It's my best accomplishment for today. So now you know. Now you know a lot about me. I mean, he doesn't say it in that patronizing way. He doesn't say it in a patronizing way. But he'll be like, you remembered to eat. And I'll be like, yeah, I did. Both Misfit and I return to Goblin on Friday night and then recover by Sunday. Yeah. I let the Goblin go a little bit on weekends, but over breaks and stuff too. Because, you know, for 3 weeks I didn't have to be doing other things. So when the Peppers were here, they would go to bed at like 10:30 and I would get out my puzzle and I would puzzle for 2.5 hours. And then clean it up and go to bed, because I'm not going to sleep at 10:30. But that's the thing is, like, when you come back from a break, and that was what was tough at the beginning of January, was like when I come back from a break and I'm like, oh, I have to do a routine now. I have to be organized. I have to be awake at a certain time. I have to be done working at a certain time so I have time to spend time with my husband. Which, speaking of getting to work on time and getting finished with work on time, we gotta do some stuff. Today we're working more on this silly little story, My Little Domerin. So if you're wondering, Domerin is that grumpy little elf boy who's down there in the corner beside me, glaring at you because you're not writing right now. He's the guy saying you should be writing on the BRB screen. And he is the main character in my Aravalia Chronicles series. He basically works for the magical FBI. And this is such a convoluted story now, but back in 2024, I had 2 very dramatic, very sudden hard drive deaths, and replaced my computer with this boy. The boy who has been giving me nightmares since November. This is Langdale. He is the new computer. And you guys out there in the chat who were hanging out with me at the time helped me buy this bad boy. As a reward for the amount of donations that were generously given for the buying of this computer, which has now been refunded, so I'm still paying you guys. I'm still paying you guys, because that money is going to future computer things. We turned Domerin into a pony. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic style. You can find it over on megancutler.net, that website right there. You can read the first, I believe most of the first 4 acts, 4 episodes are up, so it's like 8 chapters that you can read. And that's what we're doing. We made him a pony. He hates me for it. It's okay. I will eat that. And today is when he finds out that he did a dum-dum. My partner is the same way. He loves routine, but he needs an external routine enforcer, coffee provider, meal planner. Yeah. Yeah, I'm exactly... I like to be organized. I like to know what's coming and what to expect. But if I don't have somebody meeting me at a certain time of day, it falls apart. I need, like, a time, like, I need a hard cutoff time for something to be happening. Otherwise, it's just like, well, whatever, I'll get to it when I get to it, and then I never get to it. On vacation last year, we'd stumble back to the hotel room at, like, midnight, then stay up till 4. Ghost has never been a night owl, though. Ghost has always been, like, in bed by... When he stays up till midnight... That's a good night. Ghost can't sleep in either. Like 7:30 is sleeping in for him. So we definitely ended up on opposite ends of that spectrum. We have an activity. Do we have a spirit that anybody wants to hang out with? We're gonna be in the kitchen. I'm gonna put us over there for now, at the counter. For now, let's just go, over here. Oh my god, that's fucking adorable. I didn't know he did that. I didn't know that he did that. That's so fucking cute. If anybody would like to redeem a spirit companion, but come on, this boy is so cute, or a background for us to view through the windows, those redeems are in the down below. I am going to take a quick break and wash a room. You guys don't forget to get up, stretch, move around, grab something to eat and or drink. I'm gonna do a quick arm stretch that Pi redeemed here before we get started. Just to work out the body kinks. And this is a good one for you to do if you, like me, type a lot. You want to extend your arm in front of you, and you don't pull back super hard, but just lightly push your hand forward and just lightly pull back on the fingies, so the fingies are straight up and down. And this is a stretch that actually, if your arm is straight here, you pull your fingers back, this actually makes sure that your nerves are threading through the proper holes. So if you, like me, are in danger of carpal or cubital tunnel, that's one way to make sure that your nerves are in the proper places, not at risk of getting pinched. Very, very good for artists and typists, and therefore writers, which are we mostly. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm very sorry. I hope that didn't peak the mic. And now, having accomplished that, I'm gonna take a quick cheeky break, and we're gonna get into the clicky clacks for the day. So I will be right back. I have returned. I would say, how dare you laugh at my sneeze? But Woof also says that I sneeze really delicately, and he thinks it's funny. So I guess it's kind of a consensus among people that my sneezes are dainty. They don't feel dainty to me, but apparently my sneezes are dainty. We are gonna get started. And I guess we're just gonna hang out with this cutie because look at how freaking cute this is. I had no idea that the waxolotl climbed in a pot if you went to the cooking animation, so... They're cute little sneezes. They don't feel like cute little sneezes. They don't feel that way to me. Oh, Key sent me a picture to prove he's self-caring. You better be. You better continue to self-care. The self-care gremlins will get you. I don't know. I'm actually powerless, but I will glare disapprovingly. Alright. I am going to unlock the timer and get some clicky clacks going. So here we are. It is Thursday. The sun is maybe starting to come out a little bit. We'll see. I love when I misspell a word and then I try to spell it again and I spell it wrong a second time exactly the same way and I'm like, why? Why did I bother? Have hot tea and a chapter to finish. Hell yeah, what kind of tea are we drinking, Mai? Irish breakfast tea with sugar. I would have put milk in it, but our milk went off between yesterday and today. Oh no! Irish breakfast tea is lovely, though. I am drinking a coffee today called Dream State, which is made by a local roaster in our area, and it's super delish. It has this slightest citrus tang to it, and I love it. I adore it. Hey, Baba. Oh my goodness. Another sneeze. Hello, Mad Lad. How's it going? Sorry about that. My acid reflux is rebelling against coffee, so it's tea for a while for me. Fair. Key, don't laugh at my sneezels. Don't laugh at my sneezels. It's not my fault. You were here yesterday. I thought you were here yesterday. I thought I said hey to you. I thought you hydrated me. I could swear that you were here yesterday, but if it saved your streak, that's the most important thing. How's it going, Mad Lad? You're not crazy. I feel like I remember you being here. I feel like it was a real thing. Maybe it wasn't yesterday and we're all crazy. I woke up thinking it was Saturday, so anything is possible. Well, I'm very sorry it's not Saturday, but it is Thursday, and we are here, and we're happy to have you with us, Mad Lad. What is up today? Ocelot, hello, hello! first scene finished. Last week's act was only one scene, so this first scene, much shorter. Now I gotta grab a chapter break. Hey, Shadowbug. Ooh, what a cliffhanger for the sprinty spront to end on. Hee hee hee. Hee 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 and ho ho ho. That was 1,588 words written that sprint. Pretty good, considering I had to stop and grab a chapter break in the middle. Heck yeah. All is going according to plan. What's been happening while I was sprinty spronting? I'm currently writing up a transcript of an episode of Educating Essex to do like a mini language investigation. I'm going to take excerpts of the transcript and send it off to people and get them to guess whether the speakers are either male or female and possibly why. The investigation is centered around the idea that we can guess whether something was said by a man or a woman. Interesting! I am intrigued. Please let me know. Please let me know how that goes. I'm very curious. Pretty ill, but nothing Skyrim on the couch can't cure. Take care of yourself, Key, for sure. I feel good that I've worked really hard this week, and I've overcome a lot. I feel a bit anxious, but working on not letting that bring me down. Mostly gonna relax this sprint. Ocelot, you have worked hard this week. And honestly, I get it. I'm not sure what you're anxious about, but I've been feeling a general sense of anxiety and just, I don't know, disjointedness since the start of this year, so I get it. I think we're all feeling a little off, given waves vaguely. But you're doing great. You're doing great. You're working through it bit by bit, and that's all you can do, really. That's all any of us can really do is work through it bit by bit, day by day. Take the wins, rest otherwise. Having a chill sprint sounds like a perfect reward. My wife challenged me to play it on hard difficulty, so it's more of a grind than normal. Did she give you that challenge before or after you got sick? I'm having a heck of a time focusing, even though I'm almost done with this chapter. I think I'll pull out my journal and organize what I want to write for Shadows of Carillion and maybe make a bit of an art project of it. Simple tree with leaves that make up the different parts of the story. That sounds awesome, Mai. I mean, whatever gets your brain to do the stuff you need it to do. A different kind of creativity might be just the break you need. How's the writing going? It is going excellent. I'm very pleased with how today is going. I mean, today's just a fun little side story, but it's going great. I have been full of sneezes. I'm not sure what on your mark is. Shadowbug on a 5-stream streak. Heck yeah. Before, but it's giving me something to do that isn't manic cleaning. When you're sick, manic cleaning, not the thing to do. I thought maybe you were like, I'm sick, I'm gonna be on the couch, maybe I'll play some Skyrim, and she was like, you should do it on hard mode, and I was like, Orson is here. He's the stinky boy. We're trying to figure out how to give him a bath. Apparently, they make dry cat bath products. Good luck. He's also the newest boy, and he's the new whiny, needy, squeaky boy. The old whiny, needy, squeaky boy was Pickles. Well, Orson, hello. I hope you're doing well today. Get some good scritches. Wolf did watch the first Cars movie. I don't know if he watched the second and third one, but I know that he watched the first one because he sent me commentary. So for anyone, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, Shadowbug. For anyone who doesn't know, on Wolf's stream on Saturday, there was a discussion, which I won't repeat because it was crazy, but there was a discussion about Wolf's refusal to accept that there could be a ship of two cars from the animated movie Cars. And so he watched at least the first one. I don't know if he's watched the other two. And he does apparently ship some of the very minor characters. But he sent me a couple of messages while he was watching it, and he was like, do the cars feel pain? And I was like, I don't know, these are questions that we don't have answers for. These are questions we don't have answers for. So I do know that he at least watched the first one. I don't know if he's gonna get 2 and 3 in before Saturday, but I know that he watched the first one because they had they had cancellations on Monday too because of the weather. All the way down in Texas, they had too cold a weather for them to work. Yeah, I know Ghost Pepper got a chance to watch it, Shadowbug, but I forgot to watch it before I turned off my computer last night. And my mornings are pretty busy, so I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever weird conversation we're gonna get into about Cars on Saturday, because I know he's watched at least one of them. He sent a couple screenshots. It's currently dropping down to -5 F. I think it was 3 degrees Celsius here this morning when I checked. It rained this morning. It's funny because you'll enjoy that if you enjoy any of the Studio Ghibli movies. I'm sure I will. Shadowbug. I appreciate it. I do... In the middle of the week, I tend to be a bit derpy, and I'm pretty busy outside of stream, so I forget to check stuff in the Discord. But Ghost Pepper will remind me, because he really liked it. So I will make sure that I watch it at some point. But it's pretty interesting because we went on that whole tangent yesterday about the snowpack, and I was saying that I was worried because we haven't gotten enough snow. And in theory, I'm like, yay, no snow. But then, on the other hand, I'm like, we need it to snow in the mountains because the snowpack is essentially the buffer against wildfires. We had a whole conversation about this yesterday. And so Ghost Pepper came home and I was telling him, yeah, you know, like I felt a little out of sorts, and we were talking about the snowpack today on stream, and he was like, oh, everyone's talking about the snowpack. And I instantly felt so much less crazy. I was like, it's not just me. Everyone in town is like, we need it to snow in the mountains because otherwise the summer is going to be just freaking crazy. And so I was like, I thought I was the only one thinking about this. And he's like, no, it's on a lot of people's minds. So yeah, that happened last night. But it rained this morning, which cool, great, but it's not the same. We need it to snow in the mountains. Oops, all crazy. Studio Ghibli music is so whimsical, never feels to put me in a good mood. There's a thing on, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but there's this cute little thing on Disney Plus, that was, I think, animated by Studio Ghibli, and it's, Grogu from The Mandalorian, and it's just a cute little, I think it's only like 5 or 6 minutes long, and it's just a cute little animation of him with some little Studio Ghibli creatures, and it's super cute, so... I don't know if it's posted online, but if you have Disney Plus, you can watch it. It's super cute. I forget what it's called. It's like Grogu and the something. The police are having a hard time dealing with Karens who are calling on their neighbors for leaving their dogs out in the cold. I mean, I don't know that that's happening around here. It's not the most cold here, though. We're still above freezing. It's super cute, isn't it, Shadowbug? We stumbled on it. I forget how we stumbled on it. I think we were watching The Mandalorian or something, and it popped up in, like, the Related or something, and I was like, what's this? And it was super cute. And now, because I watched it, Disney keeps being like, do you want to watch this again? You could totally watch this again. Now I'm like, alright. I am going to pause the timer because I am going to run to the washroom. This is when I remind you that if you would like to redeem the spirit that we hang out with for the next, sprint, or the activity, or the, view outside the window here, those redeems are in the down below. You can go ahead and get those in, and I will, bring up, those when I get back. And also a reminder to grab something to eat and or drink. Get up, stretch, move around, take care of yourself. Especially if you are hard focusing today, you gotta take those breaks in between. Move around, don't get too stiff. Don't sit on those leggies and make your limbs go to sleep. And I will be right back. Orson is deeply confused why I'm not constantly petting him. Listen, cats do believe that they should be the constant center of everyone's attention. My door doesn't like to stay open. I don't want it drifting closed while we are in the next sprint. Every time I read Orson, my mind translates it to our son. I mean, he's a furry son. Orson, you have two hands, why can't one of them be petting me at all times? I know, right? Oh my goodness. The creatures that are with Grogu are the soot sprites. I couldn't remember exactly what they were, but it's super cute. I love the soot sprites. They are my favorite. But that and the little, I don't remember what they're called, but the little forest spirits in Princess Mononoke that have the, like, bobbleheads. Let's do another kitchen activity. We don't spend a ton of time in the kitchen, and I happen to know another cute animation from one of the spirits that we can hang out with. So let's hang out with this cutie patootie. Look at him, he's so cute! Faded Stardust, hello! I have good news for you, Faded Stardust. I was just reading a article this morning, our conversation yesterday, and it looks like Amazon is changing its policy on DRM files. So if an author opts out of DRM on their files, moving forward, I guess they were saying it wasn't going to affect retroactively, but I wonder how that works because I've been disabling DRM on my files forever, but they're saying that moving forward, post-change, it's going to be possible to download your files and use them on other e-readers as long as the author opts out of DRM. So it should be theoretically getting easier for that to happen. But it did state in the article that the change isn't retroactive for whatever reason. But I was happy to see that because that's how it should be. If an author opts out of DRM, you should be able to buy their book and read it however you want because that's how it should work. So it sounds like maybe they got some pushback on some of their more recent changes. The tree spirits are called Kodama. I didn't know that. Thank you, Key and Shadowbug. I love those little guys. One of my favorite things about Studio Ghibli is like the cute little creatures that they come up with for all their movies. Which I assume may have some basis in Japanese folklore that I just don't know. But to me, they always seem so cool. I also really like No Face. I like No Face from Spirited Away. I know he's supposed to be a bit of a troublesome spirit, but I think he's a sweetie. I think he's a sweetie, and I would hang out with him and do crafts. That's it. So I would do crafts with No Face. Faded Stardust, how's it going? What you up to today? I figured Orson was for Orson Welles. A lot of the spirits in Studio Ghibli are from Japanese folklore and mythology. I figured. I'm not as well studied with Japanese folklore and mythology as I am with certain other ones. I know Greek really well. I know Egyptian really well. I know Norse decently well. And then I sort of get into murkier territory. I know certain aspects of Japanese folklore, but there's a lot of it that I don't know. And I don't really know a lot of Chinese folklore. And I don't really know, like, I know itty bits and pieces of, like, Scandinavian and Russian. But I know almost nothing about like Southern America and Latin American folklore, so I need to do more research. Shintoism is very neat, but seems to be very regional based, and weirdly the one I know the most about. Adam Savage has a really cool story about cosplaying No Face. Really? Is it on his YouTube channel? Hang on. I pause this just very briefly so I can catch up with chat. Is it on his YouTube channel? Because I gotta see that. I love Adam Savage. You know you're a writer when you're like, well, I can't do this writing thing, so I'm gonna do that writing thing, and you wind up cleaning your desk. That is indeed the most writer thing ever. Still resting. I have a very busy couple of months ahead with surgery coming up, so I'm taking time for myself. That is a very healthy attitude, Faded Stardust. It's gonna take a lot out of you to have any kind of surgery, so it's good to be proactive. I dabbled in different folklores and mythologies from around the world. Same, very very big same. I have a beautiful, beautiful copy of Bullfinch's mythology that I actually just finished reading the third part of. It is leather bound, it is gold leaf, absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. But I had studied mythology quite extensively before reading it. Japan has a lot of kami, a lot of things have spirit attached to them. Yes, I have learned. We watched an episode of actually, and one of they do something they call Fictionary, which is they say a mythological creature and the contestants have to draw it. And one of them was an umbrella spirit, which I had never heard of before, but was super cute. And the soot sprites are fed rainbow star sprinkles. Hell yes they are, which is partly what makes them so adorable. Shintoism is interesting because it would indeed be very region based and really varied depending on the area. I got a Chinese mythology book yesterday as a present to myself. Sailing Ocelot. That sounds super cool. I shall Google it, Sardinisms. It's on his tested channel. Nice. Scotty, hello. How's it going? I am going to unleash the timer here, and in 11 seconds we are going to do our second sprint, but I do, just because we got a lot of people hanging out that hang out in Ghost Pepper's channel as well. So one more quick reminder, normally tonight is Winds of Chaos night, but Winds of Chaos has been canceled due to poor Cauliflumps being sick. There is something going around. Ghost thinks he may have even caught it. So there will not be Winds of Chaos tonight, but there will be a bonus modeling stream on Ghost's channel tonight. So I do see a couple of people who usually hang out in his modeling streams hanging out here today. So just so you guys know, tonight, probably around 7:30 p.m. PST, there's an announcement on the Discord. He's gonna be doing that. He's gonna be working some more on the Fox Girl. So anybody who would normally come hang out on Tuesday, if you're available tonight, that's gonna be happening. Scotty, how's it going, my friends? I'm gonna get quiet. I don't usually talk during the sprints, but you guys can feel free to keep chitty chatting. That's what we here for. Just gonna turn the music up slightly for the sprint, since I'm not yammering. Like my chair moved and I can't get it back in the right position. I'm trying to type too quickly and I'm typing half words and I have to keep hitting backspace. It's not making me go faster. I used to do that in Diablo. In Diablo 2, I would like just keep leaving and coming back in like the minimal time frame, or like closing the game and reopening it and going back into town until it gave me the weapon I wanted. In Skyrim, you have to physically damage the shopkeep to load a save. What? And that's how you get them to change inventory? Wow. Wowee. Do they forget that you smacked them when you reload the save? Now I have to figure out where I named this pony. sometimes a Bethesda bug happens and the AI freaks out. That tracks. Oh no, Ma, your desk is clean now. That means you have to do writing things. There's no more procrastination. You have to do the other things. But also, I'm glad your desk is clean. You know. Congrats. Peter's here. Peter, how's it going? Now to clean the room. She cleaned the room yesterday, Key. She already did that cleaning. He loves the vast majority of you. What a Bilbo Baggins statement right there. All right. We are now at 3,149 words. I'm not entirely sure where I started this last sprint. Oh, I do remember. So we wrote 1,561 words that sprint. Pretty much the same as the first time around. And we've got one more scene. So we did one really long scene last week, and we've got one more scene to write today. So we've got 3 short scenes making up the second act of episode 6. And I'm excited because I think it's going well. I think it's going very well. This My Little Domerin is a feast. It definitely is. You guys are getting what you signed up for. I'm making sure... Listen, I might have gotten into the weeds with this computer, but you guys are getting your reward. That's gonna happen. And I like less than half of you, half as much as you deserve. Oh my goodness. I also have this book of all Grimm fairy tales. Nice! I have read many of the Grimm fairy tales. I don't have the book myself, but a friend of mine did have it when we were growing up, and I've read a fair number of them. Scotty finally slept! Heck yeah, Scotty. Glad to hear it. I hope it was a nice, good rest. I hope you're feeling refreshed. My rebellion against the traditionalist Christian stuff that was fed to me was to learn about other belief systems actively. A whole lot of neat philosophies on life, nature, and humanity out there. Same! Honestly, same. That was why we had a conversation once before about why I had tea with the Mormons. I was willing to, like, listen to what they believe. I didn't want to be converted. So, you know, I just like to know what other people think. And, you know, process that and sit with it. The original Cinderella, where the sisters get their eyes pecked out by the crows. I have a book rec for you. It's a history book that I own about the history of Chinese homosexuality that might interest you due to your interest in Danmei. Passions of the Cut Sleeve, the male homosexual tradition in China. Interesting! Faded Stardust, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Now that you mention it, I do have some other stuff I can clean. No, Mai, don't do it! I mostly cleaned the holiday mess up and reorganized one of the bookshelves out of 6. You gotta do the writing, Mai. You gotta do it. It's still gonna be there. Even if you clean everything, it's still gonna be there. I always hear dildo packets. Alright, I gotta tell Ghost that one when he gets home. You hear what you want to hear. This is true. Every time I read or hear anything, it's a struggle to not purposely make it something silly in my head. Time thievery has occurred. On the main 3 bookcase unit, about half D&D stuff and the other half is books I actually intend to read at some point. Then I have 2 more shelves of missed books I might read and a shelf that has my writing project stuff. Nice. It has become a 12-course banquet. Yes. Radstag Riley, hello! How's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. We're doing pretty good. We're 2/3 of the way done with our sprints. We're 2/3 of our way done with this silly little short that I'm working on. Yeah. We got one more 30-minute sprint to go. Now we need a Megan and the Mormons fanfic. You really don't. It really wasn't all that exciting. Cut sleeve means a gay man in ancient Chinese setting due to the story of a man, I think an emperor, who cut his sleeves off to avoid waking his male lover when he got up and out of bed. The lover was like laying on it. Aw, that's sweet. I've been doing pretty good. This year has been interesting to get started. Slow start to the year, weird start to the year, but we're getting there. Things are getting done. That's the most important thing. How have you been, Radstag Riley? How have you been? What have you been up to? Make sure they add the Smeagol extra S on the end to really sell its comedy value. I upgraded my shelves. My books actually all fit on my bookshelf now, I think. Nice! I remember you saying that they were being brought in. I think it was last week or the week before Sardinism, so I'm glad they got rearranged. That's what happens after I get to the bookstore and buy more books to add to the TBR pile, then I organize them later. I do the same. The first 423 days of 2026 have been a time. Honestly, I feel like I blinked and January was gone. Like, I feel like I've just kind of gotten settled into the year. I've just gotten things the way I want them. You know, caught up after the installation antics with Windows. Caught up after being sick. You know, back to a regular routine, making plans with people again. Ghost Pepper and I are going out on Saturday night. We just made reservations for one of our favorite Mexican places downtown. Like, it just kind of feels like I'm finally ready for 2026, and it's February. That's how the start of the year has felt for me. Like, and it's February, and I'm like, what? Yo, January. Yo, I thought we were gonna hang out. 2026 sure has been a year. This year is going to be a lot of doctor stuff, but I have been chipping away at some fanfics when I can. Ratstag Riley, I hope it's good news doctor stuff. I know I don't want to say too much because it's not my health, obviously, but I know you were dealing with some stuff at the end of last year, and I hope they're able to get you what you need in order for that to be doing better. But I'm glad to hear that you've been chipping away at fanfics. It was last week. As soon as I hit the 6-week mark and was allowed to carry stuff, I got the new shelves. Hell yeah, Sardanisms. Had to remove books from the shelf to make room for the D&D stuff. I probably need to buy another shelf. Can't go amiss with another shelf, because that means you can get more stuff. The TTRPG books are in the bedroom. The fiction is in my office. Nice. I have this brand new set of shelves behind me, so you guys can see the 2 book nooks that Ghost Pepper bought for me and assembled for me. You can see my 2 assembled puzzle shelf over there. And then my day planner shelf is kind of obscured by my summer sweater. I'm still filling out this bookshelf. And then on the top shelf, those are my books. I need to fill out some more of those as well. I need to buy the books that I published last year so I can add them to my shelf. I do have some project news. The spouse has learned how to program video games, so I may be scripting a story for her summer camp game. That sounds awesome! I love that! Is it going to be like a visual novel type thing? I'm always like, is it going to be a dating sim? Am I going to get to date... Am I going to get to date monsters? But ignore me. That sounds awesome! I'm going to pause the timer ever so briefly here and pop AFK for one last break before we get into our final sprint. After this 6 minutes of break is over, we will be doing our final sprint of the day and of the week, because I don't stream Fridays. So if you would like to hang out with a specific spirit companion, or do a specific activity, or see a specific place outside the window, please do use those redeems in the down below. Otherwise, I'll just keep picking. Can I date the serial killer? Listen, in Monster Camp, there's a guy named Jerry, and he's a serial killer, and you can date him. I'm just saying, it's not that beyond the realm of like, people do that. You can also date Ringu girl, Sadie, who, is it Sadie? I think her name is Sadie. And she delivers pizzas. And in Monster Road Trip, she's at the hotel, and she gets you to join a cult, and it's great. Megan just wants to save the sweet boy. I do. And also smooch all the sweet boys. Anyway, if you'd like to redeem anything for the final sprint, please do. Otherwise, don't forget to get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink. Take care of yourself. Take your meds. Check that you've taken your meds. All the things that we gotta do to keep these bodies moving. If you're sick, like Key, you better be resting. You better be taking care of yourself. And if you're not sick, you still better be taking care of yourself, because it's important, yo. Does Megan have the I can fix him weakness? No, that's Woof. That's Woof you're looking for. I ain't fixing people. That's Woof. That's Woof territory. You talk to him about that. I'll be right back. I'm back. Woof is literally the song I Will Try to Fix You by Coldplay. Some of you might be like, wow, Megan threw Woof under that bus really quickly, but he'd be the first to tell you. He likes the scummy edgelords. He has that I can fix him energy. Yet he didn't ship the cars. I know, right? Like, can you believe? Oh my goodness. Also, Peter, I have some good news for you. I know you were very sad and concerned yesterday after our conversation at the end of stream, but you'll be happy to know Mr. Pepper stopped at the store yesterday and restocked my potato salad. So I'm restocked on potato salad. I'm going to be eating some of that today. He also brought me some sushi because he's such a sweetie boob. So I'm going to be having some, it sounds weird, but I'm going to be having some sushi and potato salad for lunch, and I'm super hype about it. And then we're going to be having leftover chili for dinner, which is yum, yum, yum. I'm truly joyful about that. I did have an absolute concern. You and potato salad are best friends. I do buy potato salad because I don't have time to make it as often as I want to. I also sometimes do make potato salad, but midweek I just don't have time to make. And like the times when I have time to make a big batch of potato salad, because it's time consuming, I don't have time. So I do, out of convenience, sometimes buy potato salad just so I have something quick and easy in the fridge to eat on certain days. So I don't get to home make certain things as often as I would like, and potato salad is one of them. It's a 100% a time thing. This is where I get my weekly head scritches with being the sweetest boy. Peter, you're always the sweetest boy. I have manga I'm actively collecting, light novels I'm actively collecting, K-pop albums, a smaller selection of higher priority TBR books that I want to read in 2026, and journal stuff. Nice. I swear I'm not doing the dishes right now. Key, you're sick! I know dishes need to get done, but you're sick. I don't have room for a second bookshelf in the bedroom, but I might be able to fit one more in here. I think, I get the impression that Mai maybe rents, so I don't know if she could cut into the wall. The bigger shelving unit is right against the outer wall, which means there's masonry behind it, and it may compromise the house stability. My roommate would, if my roommate would even consider it, which she wouldn't. If I want to read one of the books. I destabilized the house! I have spent years of my life trying to figure this out. You know when you're out at a class or something and the class leader is talking. There's always one person who thinks the leader is talking to them and says, uh-huh, and of course, and things like that. I don't necessarily know about that, but I don't attend a lot of classes. I hate that person more than any other person in the world. I need a name for these things. Do people do that? Do they just act like they're the one that's getting talked to? I don't really like store-bought potato salad. I definitely don't like store-bought potato salad as much as homemade. I try to get the store-made as much as I can because they like actually make it in-house. But there's been a potato salad shortage in our town lately, and it's made me sad. I think I just read it, Peter. I think I just read it. 4 rooms full of bookshelves. Life goals. We have a lot of bookshelves in this house, too. One of my big ones is right. You can't see any of the books on it, but there's the big boy. And then we have another one that's a little bit bigger than this, out in our, like, dining room area. And then we have 2 smaller ones in the living room. I have a lot of IKEA bookshelves. Need more, but no room. I feel that pain. I found a book That is just a font of overdramatic, pointless angst with Mpreg. Perfection. Hell yeah, sardonisms. Called Tyrant Pampering Wife Diary. Interesting name. I'm still in the first few chapters, so this opinion might change. All I know for sure is it'll be Mpreg. Nice. In every class, there's always that one person, like, they're being spoken to directly. Like, they're the only person in the whole class, and they just make these noises. Interesting. I don't feel like I've ever experienced that, but like I said, I don't take as many classes as you do. Maybe it's a, is this like a UK thing? Is this like something people in the UK do? Just call them Key. What? No, Key, you're a sweetheart. I do that all the time. My fave is catching people sighing to themselves and they think no one is paying attention and saying I completely agree. That's funny, though. It's wherever you find idiots. That would be worldwide. I don't take enough classes to speak to this. But that seems weird to me that you would assume that the teacher is, like, talking directly to you. I may wind up just writing down the stuff I need to do between now and tomorrow at 10 a.m. when I'm supposed to be picked up for the camping trip for the next sprint. Avoid that writing stuff, my writing procrastination. Cheers. You're on vacation. I'm sassing you, but you're on vacation. You should enjoy your vacation, honestly. Oh, wait. Oh, gosh. I didn't... I just realized I didn't change the activity. Oh, my goodness. Poor Mai was like, please let us type at the table. And I didn't even change the thing. My goodness. My very goodness. Who do we want to hang out with at the table? Let's hang out with this boy. Alright. Now we can do the final sprint. I almost messed up, you guys. Almost messed up. Alright, let's do it. Let's do the thing. Final round of clicky clacks for the day. I was doing some research into gender linguistics, and there's a theory called the difference theory. It essentially argues against the dominance theory by asking whether men speak differently to dominate the conversation, or if there's a biological difference. Something I did find interesting and still relevant about the difference model is the idea that if a woman tells a woman she's unwell, the woman will respond with sympathy and maybe a story of their own. If a woman tells a man the same thing, the man will likely try to find a solution. Interesting. I feel like that checks. Just camping a couple days, Friday and Saturday night. Everyone else has to be at work on Monday, but they've already stated no planned activities, just relaxing. Nice. Sometimes you need unstructured time in your life, says the woman who has the schedule for everything. Honestly, a good rule of thumb when you're having a conversation with someone and they're expressing a frustration is just ask. Say, hey, are you just venting right now or do you want suggestions? And if they want suggestions, they'll be like, yeah, what's your advice? And if they don't, they'll be like, no, I just want to. I just want to blow off some steam, or I just want to get it off my chest, or whatever. And then you know how to respond. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? I've done that because my instinct is always to fix. I'm a fixer. I want my friends to be happy. I want things to be good for them. When they express a frustration or a problem, my first instinct is to be like, hey, have you tried? But that isn't always what people want. So sometimes just be like, hey, do you want a suggestion? And if they're like, no, I haven't handled, I just kind of want to rant, then just listen. Then just be there for them. Yeah. Yeah. Just you know, it goes for a lot of things. Like, I tend to be really good at reading people and I rely on that instinct a lot. But in my later years, I've tried to get into the habit of just asking, you know, hey, what are you looking for? What do you want? And let me give you that thing that you're looking for, rather than, you know, whatever my assumption is. And people appreciate that. Also, cheers. 2 hydrates coming right up. I know I'm kind of like tangentially coming in on this conversation and only reading like the last part of it, but I have always found that to be good advice. Also, too, because people have to be open to advice. Like, people aren't going to take advice if they're not open to it. So sometimes trying to give advice to someone who's not really looking for it is just frustrating you both, right? Okay, whoa. I don't know when that sprint ended. I was heavy hard focused on those last few sentences, but here we are. That was 4,885 words today in total, and for the last sprint, 1,733. Very happy with how this went. It was exactly according to plan. A little wordier than I anticipated, but exactly according to plan. For Act 2 of Episode 6. And so now we've gotten sort of all the false starts of the season out of the way, and we will be digging into the heart and soul of the main quest and the part that hopefully actually succeeds when we start Episode 7. We really need to vacation to a desert one year. I know all I would take is photos of the night sky and complain about the sunlight. Nice. I saw that there was a lot of discussion about camping. So I will skim over it, but I'm probably not going to read all of it out loud because we got to wrap up so I can go eat some food. Have you noticed that there's been an uptick in videos of women posting to social media about it being really hard to find the right guy? No, but mostly because I'm not on most social media. I spend almost no time on social media. I'm old. I'm old and I don't know how social media works anymore, and since Twitter imploded, I have not really been on social media, so I would not notice that because I'm not really around. It's really fascinating. I too am interested in whether there's a difference between the speech of men and women, and with the stereotype of gay men speaking like women, but there being so many gay men who don't, is a really interesting addition that I don't know if there's been research into. I wonder if it's partially like how you're trained to communicate versus your gender, but it's an interesting theory. Did something happen to revitalize the Maze Runner fandom? There are movies on Disney. I don't know if they made another one recently. This was my second trip in about 2 years. I'm glad that my friends now know I like camping. They apparently thought I fell under my roommate's only glamping umbrella, so now I'm getting invited. Heck yeah! Cooking. I've given help helping people unless they specifically ask for it. Listen, that's fair. I mean, honestly, people have to be open to help. Otherwise, they won't accept it. I struggle when it comes to reading the room, although part of that is due to my ADHD and Asperger's. I'm great at picking up on emotional cues, but facial expressions, forget it. Tones of voice, too, are hard. Listen, something like 75% of communication is nonverbal. Like, tone of voice, hand gestures, posture, facial expressions. Communication is hard, and a lot of it we do kind of subconsciously. So you can learn how to communicate, and I think you should learn how to communicate, but it's a skill, right? And it's a lifelong skill. And it's easier for some people than for others. But even for people who it is easy to communicate, like, who find it easy to communicate, there's still a benefit in just asking people how they feel or what they want, right? You never are gonna know everything, so... a really bad habit sometimes of not listening to someone because I think I know more. It's probably an ego thing, but it's not out of malice. For example, I wanted to try and compose a piece of disco music, and I was told it'd be too difficult and complex for me. But me being stubborn, I thought I could do it. It took me a week or two before I gave up and apologized. Then I asked them what would be easier, did that, and thought it turned out quite nice. But you had to be ready to accept that advice, right, Mad Lad? You wanted to try something, and honestly... trying something is good. It's not a bad thing. But you had to be open to that advice, right? You had to be ready for that advice. The same friend said, I shouldn't compose in 5/4 for the sole reason that it's hard. That is... I don't know a lot about composing, but that sounds true. I irritate my wife by claiming to be an introvert, then walk into a room with no friends, then leave with several new friends and a deep desire to go hide under a rock for a day. That doesn't mean you're not an introvert. Introverts get energy from being alone, and they spend energy being with people. Being an introvert has nothing to do with struggling to make new friends. You can be an introvert who has extroverted behavior and who socializes very well, but still needs time to recharge. They are two completely unrelated things, and it took me until my mid-30s to learn that. Because Ghost Pepper is a really outgoing person when we get in groups, but he still needs time to recharge and alone time and to be himself, away from all the voices and the noises and stuff. I can't talk with people my own age, but sit me down with the elderly and I'll be the chatterbox or a sponge and just soak up everything they have to share. Nice. We're camping in a desert, so I'm a little nervous. I've mostly camped in the woods, but it's too cold for most of the wildlife I'm worried about. Listen, it'll be a nice experience. You'll get to learn something new. You mean gab for another 45 minutes? No, I need to eat food. I already did. I read way more than I said I was going to. Totally need to go buy a new book to take on the camping trip with me, not grab one of the ones I already have on the TBR. Sounds legit. I was forced into learning how to communicate with the normal people of the world. It's been incredibly painful and hurtful and stressed and devastating over the many years. It's only as a grown-up I'm learning to try and take control of my communication. Communication is hard, and we get taught a lot of things by society that are not necessarily true or the best things. So you have to unlearn a lot of things before you can learn the new things. You can eat and gab. I don't have as big a hang up as about eating on stream as Ghost Pepper, but I do not want to eat sushi on stream. It wouldn't be pretty. It would be not fun to watch. I am going to open my Firefox and see who's around for a raid. Let us find someone. Ooh, Digital Cow is on. We might head over there. I know we raid Digital Cow a lot, but it's a nice, comfy, cozy place to go. Is Flower Girl on today? I don't see Flower Girl. See, a lot of the other raiding people that we would normally raid are playing games at the moment. So, and we already raided Comf, so I think we will raid Digital Cow today. That is where we're gonna head. Digital Cow, super chill, hangs out a lot in our streams. Miss Chitty Chatty time. Mostly I was just catching up on chat. My boyfriend woke up and was chatting with him about the game. Did you post it on wow, did you post it on the Discord as well, Sardinisms? I wanna look at it once I get off stream. Anyway, you guys, this is it for me for today and for the week. I'm really happy that you guys had so much chatty time while I was sprinting. I know I don't get to always read everything that comes in as it comes in, and I don't always get to keep up, but I appreciate that you guys have a space where you feel happy and comfortable talking and interacting with each other while I'm doing the work, and that you guys feel like you can move in and out and do your own thing. That's exactly what I'm here for. Have a good camping trip, Mai. I can't wait to hear about it. I will maybe be on, I've already mentioned a couple times, Ghost Pepper is doing a model stream tonight instead of the usual Winds of Chaos. That will be on the Ghost Pepper channel. I probably will hang out with him on voice at some point. I haven't asked what his plan is, but he usually does like to have me in his ears while he's doing that. So I'll probably be working on the octopus a little bit more this evening over on his channel. And then, of course, if you want more of me before next week, I will be on It's Swift's channel at 7:30 p.m. PST. That's It's Woof for Cozy Chaos. We're going to be talking about Cars again, because he promised he would watch it, and I know he watched the first one. So if you want to know what crazy antics we get up to while we're over there, that'll be happening. Divorce Court Podcast, live recording tonight. Potentially. Hopefully in the right channel. No worries, Sardonisms. Either the, like, check this out or gaming channel or whatever would be. There's a couple different places where it would fit. Every time I try to forget about Wolf in the truck, you drag me back in. Listen, blame him. I'm not the one who said it initially. Anyway, guys, we're probably going to have the regular streams next week. I'm definitely planning to have the regular streams next week unless something happens. So next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10:30 a.m. PST. Probably we'll be doing exactly what we did this week, edits and a little bit of clicky clackies, hopefully on one of those days to work on more My Little Domerin. Did check it out? Yes, perfect. That works fine. He wants to feel that pavement. Oh boy, oh boy. Might have to sneak in Thursday from work. No worries. We appreciate you. And we understand that life has to happen. Let's go say hi to Digital Cow. And this is the last spiel from me for a while, I promise. But guys, take care of yourself. If you're not feeling well, please rest. Please get those fluids in you. Take it easy. Get yourself better. If you are feeling well, still take it easy sometimes. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to get up, to move around. Just do all the things you gotta do to take care of your body. Because you only get one. It doesn't come with replacement parts. And I want it to last for a long time because I want to hang out with y'all. Guys, thank you so much for being here. You've been amazing, as always. Like I said, I know the start of this year has been just so weird and so wild, and January's gone, but we're getting through it together, and, like, that's the thing. That's the most important thing. So have all of the creativity and productivity and recitivity until I see you guys again, and I'll see you all either at one of those other streams or next week right here. Same time, same channel. Maybe. Probably. Bye!